The studio feels smaller now, as if the bright lights are closing in. Megyn's smile has become a delicate mask, her words measured and slow. Kelly, I think it's important that people understand I've been through challenges most wouldn't comprehend, and Kelly leans forward slightly, her voice calm but cutting. I don't doubt that, Megyn. But the thing is, everyone's been through something. The difference is not everyone has a Netflix deal to tell their side. The audience explodes, a mix of laughter, gasps, and applause. Megyn freezes for a fraction of a second, her eyes widening before she recovers. She gives a tight, almost robotic smile. But Kelly isn't done. She rests her elbows on her knees, her tone dropping to something both sincere and surgical. Look, you've said you wanted to be real with people. Here's the thing about being real. It's messy, it's raw, and it doesn't always make you look good. Sometimes, Megyn, being real is better than being royal. The words hang in the air like a thunderclap. The audience roars, some cheering wildly, others clapping slowly, savoring the moment. A few people in the front row exchange wide-eyed glances, whispering, "Did she just say that?" Megyn blinks rapidly, her breathing shallow. She forces a chuckle, nodding as if in agreement, though the tightness around her mouth betrays her. She shifts in her seat, crossing her legs the other way, a subtle attempt to regain control of her body language. Kelly, unfazed, turns to the camera with a practiced smile. All right, folks, we'll be right back after the break. The theme music swells, the lights dim slightly, and crew members hustle onto the stage. Megyn leans toward her assistant, whispering something under her breath, her eyes avoiding Kelly entirely. Meanwhile, social media is already ablaze, clips of the exchange flooding, timelines with captions like, "Kelly didn't hold back, and that's how you handle a royal." The hashtag are better than royal trends worldwide within the hour. The air in the studio seemed to thicken, the bright lights suddenly feeling hotter as every eye locked onto Megyn and Megyn. Even the panelists, who usually thrived on lively debate, looked hesitant to interrupt. The camera zoomed in, catching every micro-expression. Megyn's tightening jaw, Megyn's cool, deliberate gaze. Megyn leaned back slightly in her chair, folding her hands in her lap with deliberate calm. "Megyn," she began, her voice measured, "you speak as if you understand what it's like to have your personal life dissected, twisted and sold as entertainment every single day." Her eyes glimmered with the faintest trace of challenge. Megyn didn't blink. She leaned forward now, resting her elbows on the table, her voice sharp. "I do understand, Megyn. I've been in the media spotlight for decades, but here's the difference. I didn't expect the world to bend the rules just for me. I adapted. You seem to expect the opposite." A murmur swept through the crowd, some cheers, some audible disapproval. Megyn's lips parted slightly in disbelief. "So you're suggesting I should have just accepted being treated unfairly? That I should have smiled politely while being torn apart by tabloids?" Megyn's brow lifted, a flash of dry humor crossing her expression. "I'm suggesting that playing the victim card every time someone criticizes you doesn't help your case." The audience reacted instantly, half the room clapping, the other half booing. The tension split the studio like a fault line. One of the other hosts shifted in her seat, clearly about to intervene, but thought better of it as Megyn's voice cut through the noise. "I'm not playing anything," Megyn shot back, her tone sharper now. "What I've faced isn't ordinary criticism. It's targeted, relentless, and yes, racially motivated." She straightened in her chair, the firmness in her voice demanding attention. Megyn's expression didn't soften. "I'm not denying some coverage has been unfair. But at some point, Megyn, you have to stop blaming everyone else for your problems and take responsibility for how you present yourself." A collective gasp rippled across the audience. Phones came up, viewers, capturing what was clearly turning into a viral moment in real time. Megyn's eyes narrowed, her polished demeanor showing cracks. "Well," she said, her voice low but carrying to every corner of the studio, "maybe that says more about the public than it does about me." The audience roared, half in agreement, half in outrage, as the producers signaled to stay with the live exchange. The clash was far from over. By now, the studio felt like a pressure cooker. Every breath, every shuffle of a chair, every flicker of an eyelid magnified by the silence between verbal blows. The audience wasn't just watching anymore. They were leaning forward as though they were ringside at a prize fight. Megyn Kelly sat upright, her arms no longer crossed but spread slightly on the table, as if claiming the space between them. Meghan Markle, however, had shifted forward, her elbows resting on the polished surface, her eyes locked firmly on her opponent. The tension crackled like static between them. Meghan's voice was steady, deliberate. "Meghan, you've spent years telling the world your story. You've done interviews, documentaries, books. But every time, it seems like you're still painting yourself as the misunderstood heroine. At some point, people start wondering, maybe the problem isn't the story. Maybe it's the storyteller." The words hit like a slap and an audible gasp rolled through the audience. Meghan's lips parted, but no words came for a long beat. She blinked once, twice, regaining composure. "Or maybe," she replied slowly, "people like you have decided what my story should be before I even open my mouth." Meghan tilted her head, her smile small but unmistakably pointed. "I don't decide your story, Meghan. You do. And if you don't like the reaction, maybe it's time to ask yourself why it keeps happening." Laughter and applause broke out in pockets of the audience, and the sound seemed to swell as the camera lingered on Meghan's face. The flicker of frustration was there, tiny but visible. Her hands, still clasped together, tightened slightly, the knuckles paling. She inhaled deeply, choosing her words with care. "It's easy to sit there and lecture me, Meghan. When you've never been in my position, married into an institution centuries old, steeped in expectations and then torn apart for daring to speak the truth." Meghan's reply came instantly, sharp and unyielding. "The truth isn't the problem, Meghan. It's the way you wield it. As if you're the only person in the world who's ever faced scrutiny. That's not bravery. That's self-pity." The remark drew a mix of laughter and gasps, so loud it almost drowned out Meghan's tight, incredulous laugh. She shook her head slightly, but the cameras had already caught the faint flush creeping into her cheeks. The segment producer's voice came faintly over the host's earpieces. Time was almost up, but the damage and the humiliation had already landed.